Are live. Welcome to the show. I'm the Headless Horseman. We're doing some more magic content. I'm not a magic creator in any capacity. However, last night I was invited out to the HOBBIT pre-release. Got the opportunity to go. Ended up going 4-0 and winning the entire thing. So after I discussed the deck, some of the play patterns, what I wound up doing, I'm going to show off the prize pack and everything I won. But let's first, big shout out to Mayhem Games and Cafe, one of the many LGSs in my area, for holding the HOBBIT pre-release. It was a huge success. I appreciate that LGS a ton. They're extremely kind, friendly. Go support your own LGS if they do the same for you. Big shout out to Box of Pepsi MTG on Instagram, TikTok, and a few other spots as well, I believe. The playmat I won in a giveaway from them, featured in another video that I don't know if I ever uploaded. But with that being said, let's get into the pre-release deck and what exactly I ran. I went blue-green Simic. We will go over the land count first. It's pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 forest. 9 forest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 island. That's right. Normally, I tend to run 17 lands in pre-release and keep 1 or 2 sideboarded just in case, depending on how the draws go. But we're not here to discuss my mana base. You're probably wondering, what did I build out of my pre-release? I did say I went Simic. But right on top, we have a colorless flyer, Old Thrush. It is a 1/2 flyer, but when it enters, you gain 2 life. I don't know if you know this in pre-release, but every little bit counts. Every little bit. Your life points are a resource, and having more of them is so vital at pre-release. So this card was huge for a 2-drop, and being flying in a pre-release gives you such an advantage. So Old Thrush, great card, fantastic to draft for pre-release. Let's put it into the Mox field. Boom. Old Thrush. Big shout out to Old Thrush. Next up, Elven Raft Steerer. This card has landfall. It is a 3-drop for 2 colorless and a blue pip. It is a 3/2. Pretty solid stats. Not the best. For a 3-drop, you would think you'd normally want a 3/3. However, the landfall text reads, whenever a land you control enters, choose 1. Tap target creature an opponent controls. Untap target creature you control. With this card alone, it kind of shows what I am attempting to do with the deck already. Control. I love controlling the board state at pre-release, because most of the time you're not going to combo into like 16 squirrels or 32 whatever. So being able to tap even 1 to 2 creatures is vital to getting big damage through. This card was huge. So let's get it into the Mox field. Next up, Bejeweled Warg. Now, you'll notice it is a wolf. I thought we were going elves. Yes. However, it is a 2. This might be one of the biggest sleeper hits of the set. I had no interest in the Hobbit. I just built a Skullbriar deck. I'm about to rip it apart and add a ton of cards from the Hobbit. Bejeweled Warg. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 green. It has Trample for a 3/2 2-drop. This alone would have made this card great in pre-release. But whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target wolf you control, or create a treasure token. Insane lines of text on a 2-drop. This, hands down, one of the best rares I think I've seen from this set. I didn't watch a lot of content on it or stuff that was coming up. Seeing this was crazy. Big shout out to WhiteBatAudio for the music as well. Go check them out on YouTube. They do copyright free. Missing an E in there. I use them for a lot of my CarX videos as well. Please go check them out. WhiteBatAudio on YouTube. Anyways, back to the cards. Next up, we have Woodland Weavemaster. 1 colorless, 1 green. 1/2, not the best stats, but once again, we are looking at the line of text underneath the fantastic artwork. Vigilant. Amazing. Whenever another elf you control enters, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So now you've got yourself a 2/3 on hand if you drop another elf. But if you tap it, you can add X mana of any color, 1 color, where X is this creature's power. Spend this mana only to cast elf spells and activate abilities of elves. Kind of ties you into an elven strategy, but that's fine. Elves are everywhere in The Hobbit. So, I mostly used it as a chump blocker. Didn't use it to activate abilities or bring in elves once, but the option was there, which is why I put it in the deck. Nothing too crazy, but I just thought it was a solid pull to have in there. Let's make sure I got everybody in here all right. Let's talk about Thranduil. And if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sure somebody in the comments will kindly correct me. The Sindarin Liege. 2 colorless, and then 2 pips of either blue or green, your choice. It also has an adventure on it. I tried using the adventure and it actually lost me a game, but them's the breaks. Not a game. I went 4-0. One of the matches in the set. Went 2-1 in the set. Anyways. Sylvan Rally. It's 1 colorless. And either 2 blues, 2 greens, or 1 of each. You mix it up. Mill 4 cards, then put up to 2 land cards among them into your hand. I was starved for land during one of my matches. And I tried playing this, and I failed to find even one. However, other elves you control get +1/+1. Huge. landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green elf token. Come on now. In pre-release, you're dropping lands almost every turn. So guess what? Now you've got chump blockers. But they're 2/2s. They're automatically 2/2s because of this card. So, as you can see, it like had to be an automatic add once I drafted it. I believe I pulled... No, that wasn't from the promo pack. Next up, we have the other wolf of the deck, Duskwatch Hunter. 2 colorless, and either a green or a black. This creature can't be blocked by tokens. I assumed there were going to be tokens on the board, and as you saw earlier with the Elven Raftsteer, if they have a token and a regular creature, I would tap the regular creature and then attack with this. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So, I would make it a 4/2 sometimes. Pretty straightforward card. Fantastic. Draft pool. Nothing too crazy, but just fun to have and drop. The mana curve of the deck is 2 to 4. A good chunk of this you will see is 3 drops. Except for one card, there is a single 1-drop in this deck that changed games for me. But we'll get there when we get there. First, let's talk about Old Fat Spider Can't See Me. Almost everybody was running this saga. 2 colorless, 1 blue. First, target creature you control gains hexproof for as long as this saga remains on the battlefield. So you probably have at least 4 turns of a creature being protected. As you can see, I have some pretty important elves in the deck that need protecting. When this came out, did its job. Second part of the saga, prevent all damage that would be dealt up to 1 target creature for as long as the saga remains on the battlefield. Control, baby. We love it. You aren't hurting a thing. And then 3 and 4 is draw a card. We love card advantage in pre-release. You're probably playing most of your hand during the pre-release. So having card advantage and something to refill, always helpful. Great card, nothing too crazy. Elrond. Moon Reader. 2-drop, 2 colorless, blue pip. Whenever you activate an ability of a creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Once again, card draw engine. Only happens once per turn, but you know, you take what you can get. It's pre-release, and I felt a lot of games were extremely back and forth at my pre-release event. Like, nothing felt broken. This was a really fun pre-release event. I have to say, I had no intentions of attending or even buying Hobbit cards at all. And now here we are with a 4-0 record and a prize pack we're shown at the end. But let's get back to discussing the card. For 7, you can exile up to 2 other target non-land permanents you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So, not the craziest ability, but if something has an ETB, that would be extremely useful, and you could deal with it not being on the field for a turn, or you're trying to protect it. Not a bad way to be. In pre-release, it's kind of because you want as much of a board state as possible, in my opinion, to protect yourself. But cool card. Mythic rare. The card draw, nice. I threw it in mostly because it was a 3/3 for a 3-drop. Not even for the ability. Alright. Some more of my favorite control from the deck. Confiscate and Bebother. Choose one. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. Which most of the time they ain't gonna have, because you're using this for big bombs. Or draw 2 cards, then discard a card, which I never used it for. It is a 3-drop. Get used to hearing that. 2 colorless, 1 blue pip. But this was huge. I would stop massive creatures from coming out. I would stop counterplay. Like, saved me. Saved me a ton. So, confiscate and Bebother. Confusticate? Confusticate? Confusticate. Token. I'm gonna have to look up how to properly pronounce that. I'm not normally thrown off by a word, but that T in the middle there is kind of throwing me off. Confusticate? Confusticate and Bebother. That actually sounds right. Confusticate. Have we been entering? Yeah. Confuse. That sounds like a Hobbit word. We have Bjorn's Hospitality. A 2-drop for 1 colorless, 1 green pip. It's an enchantment. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Huge. Just buffing creatures for a 2-drop. For something you're going to be doing every single turn. But for 7, this enchantment becomes a bear creature in addition to its other types and gains this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Now, once again, say you have Old Fat Spider out, this thing now gains hexproof. Crazy. Just a good enchantment. I didn't get to use it all that often, but when it did, it went off. Another counter spell, little expensive, didn't get to play it. However, I think this is awesome. Counter target spell. If a permanent spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost for as long as it remains exiled. If a permanent spell is countered this way, exile it, and you can just play that. That is your card to just play now. That is disgusting. I didn't get to use it, and I wish I had. This is awesome. This is so sick. Imagine something major nailing the board and you're just like, nope, that's mine now, and I don't have to pay for it. Little expensive at 6. Would have been crazy as a 5-drop. But it is 4 colorless and 2 blue pips. So, very use case scenario. As you can see, if you mana ramp, craziness happens. But you do what you do at pre-release. I thought this card was an absolute heater. Warg Tactics. Choose one. It's an instant. One colorless, one green pip. Destroy target creature with flying, or put +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains trample and hexproof until end of turn. Save a creature, give it +1/+1 and trample. However, the destroy target creature with flying saved me and won me a game in my first set. My opponent had buffed a creature to +3/+3, and I didn't really have an answer to it in hand. I had Warg Tactics and maybe a land at this point. During their play, they turned it into a 4/4 or something and gave it flying. As soon as that happened, I dropped this, destroyed their creature. I had some other control on the board, which we'll get to later. And since they were so low in life, they just scooped for the turn and GG'd it. Warg Tactics. Fantastic save. In pre-release. Now, to one of my favorite one drops that became so huge. Giant's Boulder. When this artifact enters, scry 2. This is the only reason I put this card in this deck. I thought. Checking to see those you drop this turn 1 and check to see what you have in deck for the next couple of pulls. Major. I set so many plays up using this card. Giant's Boulder is amazing to have on the field because if you drop it turn 1, people forget it's there. Why is that important? Well, I never used the tap 1 and tap this and add 1 mana of any color to color fix. Oh, no, 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 no. 7 and tap it, sack it, and destroy target permanent. Massive. Giant's Boulder. Huge for pre-release. I'm so glad I added this. I needed something to fill out the deck, and that's what went into the spot and helped win a game as well. Next up, Elven King's Harper. 2-drop. 1 colorless, 1 blue pip, a 2/2. Good stats. Pretty basic. Until you read its ability. For 4 colorless and a blue pip, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Now, by this point in the deck, you've seen all the +1/+1 counters that have gone onto my creatures through other means. $5 to 10 damage straight to your opponent in a pre-release when you only have 20 life and no real way to gain life in this set besides Old Thrush and maybe 1 or 2 other cards from what I've seen. Game-winning card. Hands down, game-winning card for pre-release. Next up, Wood Elves. When this creature enters, search your library for a forest card. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. It is 2 colorless and a green for a 1/1. But that text in this deck made it massive. A land tutor in a landfall deck became so useful. And then after using it as a tutor, I essentially just chump blocked with it. But, you know, it's not a 1-1 at this point. If certain other things have played out, it's a 2-2. Or maybe it's even a 3-3. Good card. Very useful in this deck. And it's 69 cents. Nice. Next up, Mirkwood Pathmaker. 2 colorless and a green. Mirkwood Pathmaker. I want to say Pathfinder. Mirkwood Pathmaker's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Landfall deck, I've been getting lands out. It's already guaranteed to be a 3-3 when it hits the board, so pretty solid stats. And then as the game progresses, you may end up having a 5-5, 6-6, 7-7. Make it unblockable. Congrats. You have potentially won the game. I used it as a blocker most of the time. Stopping mostly 4-5s, 5-5s, that type of stuff. So, Mirkwood Pathmaker. Not the craziest card. Insanely useful, though. Next up, Guardian of the Halls. 1 colorless, 1 green. Has trample, 2-2. Pretty nice. Good second turn play. The ability, however, for 5 colorless and 2 green, put 3+1/+1 counters on this creature. Now, for 7 mana, that's quite the commitment. However, if you're late in the game and this thing is already buffed, you are now walking around with a potential, you know, maybe 8-8, 9-9, 10-10, depending on how other plays have worked out. This thing, I actually got to pop the 7. So, useful in pre-release to a degree. Had it. I don't have too much more to say about it. That's where we're going with that. It was good. It did what it needed to. Addercop. It's a spider. It's a 2-drop. 1 colorless, 1 green. It has reach and death touch. For a 2-drop, huge lines of text right there. It's a 2-1. So not the strongest blocker, but with reach and death touch, you're using it to... I used it to mostly scare any flyers that were over 3. But the landfall, whenever a land you control enters, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Pretty simple. It's a landfall deck. It's a good blocker. That's why it was in there. Now, for the game-winning cards that saved me so many times over. Enchanted River's Grasp. Sorry. I don't know if it was Enchanted River Grasp or Rivers, but Enchanted River's Grasp for 2 colorless and 1 blue. Enchant creature. When this aura enters, tap enchanted creature and remove all counters from it. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So one of these is already menacing. But what if I told you two of them is nightmarish? Well, what if I told you three brought about a 4-0 victory? I had all of these on the field my last game to win. I dropped two of them my final turn to take full control of the board. Thank you, Enchanted River's Grasp, for winning me the Hobbit pre-release. I don't know how I pulled three, but I did. I don't know why I was only one. Like, I was one of the only people running these cards. I don't know if people didn't pull them or what, but yeah, huge, huge, huge card for control. I love the art too. It reminds me of Time Ebb. So let's get. So disgusting. And the final card for my pre-release deck, Thranduil's Company. 2 colorless, 1 green, 1 blue. As long as you control another elf, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. That's right, 2 lands per turn. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature you control, and it gains vigilance until end of turn. Let me explain something to you. This is ridiculous. In a pre-release format, it was damn near broken. It is a 3/4 4-drop that allows you to play an additional land, so when you play it, you could play another land your turn and get 2+1/+1 counters and give something vigilance. Game-winning card. Insane. Absolutely top-tier draft, in my opinion. Let's get it into the Mox field. All right, let's add Forest. Oh no, my camera! Oh man, I knew I was gonna hit it at some point. I'm gonna have to show what my camera is being held on currently. I think that'll be funny. Holy cow! There we go. Forest. Island. Alrighty. 40 cards worth $8.81. So, what did $8.81 win me? Let's that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good prize pack, right? That's sweet. We love cracking packs, and we'll be doing that here soon. We might actually end this stream and then come back to open these up. But we'll start with some of the extra goodies. Here, I'm gonna turn those two over, and we'll go through these one by one. We have an access tunnel. It is a land. You tap and add a colorless. 3 and tap it. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. I have a Terra deck that is going into. We have another access tunnel. Pretty sick. Unearth. This is such cool art. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It has cycling. It is a 1-drop. It is a 1 black sorcery. It's pretty cool. Nowhere to Run. I really like this card. I've never seen this before. It is a 1 colorless, 1 black enchantment. It has flash. When this enchantment enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Crazy. Creatures your opponents control can be the targets of spells and abilities as though they didn't have hexproof. Ward abilities of those creatures don't trigger. Crazy. Courier of Comestibles. Thanks, Ninja Turtles. When this creature enters, you may search your library for a food card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If you don't put a card into your hand this way, create a food token. So, not the craziest, but 1 colorless, 1 green. Find you a food token, good for a food deck, I guess. Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, 4-drop, 3 colorless, blue pip. Reach, whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, you may draw a card. Nice card draw engine, nothing crazy. Echo, Perceptive Prodigy. I really like this card. 2 colorless, 1 blue pip. Has vigilance, but for 1 and tap it, copy target activated or triggered ability you control from a creature source. You may choose new targets for the copy. An Unexpected Party. 2 colorless, 2 white. Has an adventure on it as well for X2 and 1. The adventure is create X22 red dwarf creature tokens. Pretty cool. But the main text says, as this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. Probably going in an Angel deck or my Edgar Markov deck. You can go check both those decks out on my Mox field under the Headless Horseman. Bilbo. Luck where? Sorry, some of the glare messes with how I can see the cards at times. 1 colorless, 1 blue pip. Also has an adventure on it. Burglar's Plot for 4 colorless and 1 blue pip. The adventure reads, exchange control of 2 target non-land permanents that share a card type. That's sick. I didn't read that last night when I got this. Bilbo can't be blocked. Whenever Bilbo deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. Pretty cool. What else did we get from the prize pack? We have another Wood Elves. We already talked about it. It's just a extended art. Into the Floodmaw. Gift a tapped fish. Turn target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. I just like, look at this fucking artwork. Look at this goddamn frog wizard. Oh, alright. Guide of Souls. 1 white, and whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life and get a charge counter. Whenever you attack, you may pay 3 charge counters. When you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target attacking creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types. This is going in my Mondrak deck so fast. Now, for the first major prize card. Not that one. We got a Yuna Grand Summoner. And the One Ring. So let's talk about Yuna real quick. Yuna is 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue. Grand Summon, tap and add 1 mana of any color. When you next cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you may put that number of +1/+1 counters on target creature. Sick. And the One Ring Box Topper. Indestructible when the One Ring enters. If you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. Tap and put a burden counter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. And that was my Hobbit pre-release. That was the deck I ran. This was my prize pack. And in fact, I'll show off the trade I made. I pulled a Gandalf full art, but I traded it for a Head of the Hunt. It's just cool. I like wolves. So, without further ado, that will wrap up this portion of the stream. We'll be back to crack packs here and change the title of the stream. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. I am the one and only Headless Horseman. If you'd like to support me further, go check out my Instagram. There you'll see all of my professional artwork, sketch work, oil painting, so on and so forth. Up in Smoke Productions. Go check out the YouTube, the Headless Horseman on YouTube, link in the About section, where this video and over 700 other videos have been uploaded for free, non-monetized, non-sponsored, all out of my heart, where I play games Headless, such as Sekiro, that I just beat, level 1, base stat. Go check that out. It's sick. Links in the About section. And as you venture off in your own Hobbit pre-releases of life, please be safe. Please be good to each other. Please be better. I will see you on the other side. We might be back to crack some packs here soon. Take care, everybody. Have fun.